The dog. Lene isn't saying bye is the wild part. I mean, I don't know, bro. Oh, that's too loud. I don't know, bro. Like, I genuinely give up. I give up on Wua's story, dude. I genuinely just give up. What the dog doing? Oh, shit. Hello, Luis. Just got more than IS1 at 51 pity. Nice. That's not bad. Only 50 pulls. Did you get Sunday Lycone? No, I don't want Sunday Lycone. I was trying to get DDD copies for Buff Sparkle, since I'm probably going to choose her from the selector. I did cut it close, though. I'm at like 65 pity. So it's like really close to the soft pity, but I'm not doing no more. Because my Anoxa account does have like an S5 DDD, so it's good. But on my Cassie account, I only have like an S2 DDD. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to get more, but I kept getting the Herda cone. I want to save my Lycone pity for like Yao Guang probably. I know I said I'd save yesterday to my reaction to Silverwolf's thing. However, now that it's leaked that both Yai and Silverwolf will be main DPSs, I'm just gonna take, I'm gonna do the Gamba. I'm gonna pull Sparksy and Yao Guang, since they will probably be sub DPS and support for at least one of them, and then whoever they work better with, I just pull. That's what I'm gonna do. Lost my first 75-25 on Sunday's Lycone, so I might do long term dot from scratch for funsies. Understandable. Nice, Dark. Hello, Zachary. They were like, let's pit them together in the Annie and see who wins. Yeah, I mean, this is what I originally expected, though, and like it made sense. I originally expected it to be a Cassia Noxa situation, even if they are of the same path. It was always my original guess. Because it just makes sense. Because if you look at Remembrance, technically by 3.2, we will have the same amount of Elation characters as we have Remembrance characters. And in comparison, Remembrance has 3 DPSs. So if Sylvie wasn't a DPS, then we'd only have 2, being like Sparksy main DPS and Yai. So there had to be another one. I was like, I think it's probably going to be Silverwolf. Now, I didn't expect Silverwolf to become a fucking main push. But, you know. I mean, the reality is that now Silverwolf will probably get the better shilling and strength, but people are acting like the character is doomed. Like, people need to understand. Look at Anoxa, right? Sure, Anoxa ain't a Cassie, but he still got very, very favorable treatment. Maybe it's animations that they're worried about. I mean, I could maybe see that where they prioritize Silverwolves more. But in terms of actual strength, if they make her like in an Oxa, it's gonna be completely fine. Like an Oxa is one of the strongest DPSs currently for like average investment. I still don't even know which one I'm gonna get personally. I was like super hyped for Silverwolf when I first saw her, but then I remembered like Yai, man. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Like Yai is someone I have been waiting for so long. Uh, who's the main push for HSR? Annie Silverwolf. Her animations are already done, so I don't see them downgrading Yai's. Nah, their animations aren't done. They're probably in the works, but they aren't done. Like, for example, even Phanon and Cassie, I believe, are receiving slight animation buffs during the official beta. And that's, like, close to release. Nah, they weren't. Literally, the only animation they showed off for Cassie was the ult. They didn't show off anything else. And then later on, they showed off more. What do you think about the TOA reset? I don't know. It kind of felt the same. I've seen a lot of people complain about it. Some people said it was the shilling, but like the shilling is the exact same as last time. So I don't even know what people are exactly mad at. I did say though, Scar was like hella annoying. Like I can see Scar fucking up some people's rotations, and that makes them take longer to clear. But outside of that, I didn't feel anything like crazy. If you had to pull a unit right now on a new account, who would you get? I mean, if we're talking long term, I wouldn't do this. But if your goal is to try and clear endgame as quick as possible, I'd actually pull. Yeah, I get Yao Guang Sparksy and use Buff Sparkle. That's one team. I don't know if Don Hung PT is still available for free. I think he is. So you can do that, and that's one team down. And then after, I'd probably just wait till Annie for the next team. If you wanted to clear as quick as, depends on the DPSs they rerun in 4.1, but yeah, it would just be that. You get Yao Guang Sparksy, run it with Buff Sparkle, and then wait till Annie, and then make your second team off that. Hello. Thoughts on 4.0 after the two trailers? I'm excited. I already said I was incredibly excited for Plan Arcadia even before the trailer. It looks like a lot of fun. Pan Arcadia just looks like Penacony slop. Rage bait. I feel like defense shred is overhyped for Phenon's Lycone. 18% Ceredra E1. 16% plus 20%. I don't count Sunday's E1 because everyone knows it's bugged. So with a double skill 54%, no double skill 34%. No, it's not really overhyped at all. You need to understand, it obviously depends on your team comp. Like, the reason S5 Phenon becomes so strong isn't just the defense shred, by the way. It's the base speed. So he's consuming less AV per turn, which means he does more damage per turn. The LC copies also give more damage bonus, and then they also give the defense shred on the side. But what makes getting his Lycone copy so good is the fact that it's cheaper. You have a higher chance of winning on a Lycone, and it's 10 max pity less, which means the soft pity is also at 10 less. So it costs less pulls to get Lycone copies. You can use a Lycone on other future characters, which you can't do with Eidolons, and it's still competitive with his Eidolon investment after E2. That's why people value it so highly. Well, I wouldn't say, okay, here's the thing. There is nuance to this entire conversation. In terms of pure damage, E2S5 Phanon in the right team comp will be stronger than an E6S1, right? But E6S1 is still stronger. And the reason for this is because of the true damage. You waste less of your damage on an E6 Phanon as compared to an E2S5-1 because the meteors at E6 for Faye have the exact same true damage mechanic as Trivi, right? The reason it works so well against that Sunday boss is because hitting all the mobs does damage, right? Like it's a shared HP boss. So you're not losing out on any damage. But yeah, that's kind of how it goes. E6 has the better QOL. E2S5 has slightly better damage amp and is cheaper. You decide which one you want to go for, basically. Also, I imagine for like a really trash player, they might like E6 Faye more, even outside of this, just because he can get an ult faster, right? Like that does have value, kind of. Makes running sustainless with him way faster and easier. Hello. When I looked at teams like Break, they have a lot of avenues to get up to 100% defense shred, but Phenon teammates don't. Well, Phenon teammates do now. E1 May Sari E1, and then a Sparkle E2. It's expensive, but you can 100% get there. And this is with like obviously you add his Lycone's copies. Like for example, his current strongest team for his first ult at E0, not including an E2 Cyrene, is with Sparkle. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a Cyrene-less team with Sparkle. And then his E2 strongest team with Sparkle, although it is worse, comes close to E2 Cyrene Saridra because of the fact that he can stack up the defense shred like crazy. If I remember correctly, on the calc, it was like E1 Mei, E2 Sparkle. And this wasn't even, by the way, with an S5 Fae. This was with an S1 Fae. So the more copies you have of his Lycone, the stronger the Sparkle team theoretically gets as compared to the Cyrene one. Yeah, home press. It's like it's only because of E1 Mei home press. You'd have a real argument here if it weren't for the fact that the game gave E1 Mei for basically free. But because you can just get E1 Mei through the golden tokens, people are like, oh, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna slap Mei on a team, stack up the defense shred, and that's how you get a lot of these like high defense shred feign on teams. E1 Mei plus E2 Sparkle is 2 cost. Wait, that's actually funny. Wait, you're not wrong. Oh my god. You're not wrong. Oh my fuck. Okay, that's crazy to think about. So E1 Mei plus E2 Sparkle is technically 2 cost. Wow. Oh my fucking god. Is Tribby better for Cassie at E6 investment if we considering other teammates as Hyacine and Evernight? It's Tribby, no. I think Cyrene is better. Well, it depends. Like E6 versus E6 Cyrene is better, but E6 versus like an E0 Cyrene, like an E6 Tribby would be better. 99% of the time. How much def shred does E2 Sparkle give? 30%. Do you think we'll ever get relic loadouts in HSR? I mean, I don't know. To be honest, okay, this might sound like stupid to a lot of you. I don't even know what relic loadouts do. Like, I've seen a lot of people complain about it for convenience reasons. And like when Wuwa added it, people praised it. I've never used like the loadouts in Wuwa ever in my life or in like any other game. Like what's the appeal? Is it like you save a certain set of echoes and then like you can instantly click on it instead of going through all the separate echoes for a character? Is that it? Because I've never really had to do that in Wuwa. Maybe for like Moonlit, but you don't really have to do it in Wuwa. Because like every new character has a new best in slot echo set. So there's not really any point in making echo loadouts when it comes to the newer characters. Like it's kind of useless. I could see it being useful for like Moonlit though. And maybe if I'm trying to put like Havoc Bane echoes on either Havoc Rover or Dungeon for side tower. You use a Noxa, so I was wondering how much damage does he do with Sunday Don Hung versus without Sunday. Wondering who to pull, but I have Sparkle and Branya. Don't pull Sunday for a Noxa. Just don't. Save up for Cyrene rerun if you want to get him a new partner. Sunday is better than Branya purely because of the SP positivity, but outside of that, like the difference isn't astronomical. You know what I'm saying? He's better, but Cyrene, in my opinion, is like the must-have for an Oxa. I get the feeling you'd be disappointed if you went into Sunday right now and expected like a big return. Going pretty good, uni going pretty good. Did my dailies and shit. Is S0 Sunday trolling for Phanon? I mean, his Lycone is like incredibly general, but it's not like a game changer really. Like you'll have a scuffed rotation, but that's about it. Why are you not flying? Oh, because I forgot you can fly. My bad. Is E2 Fae with Saridra overkill? Kinda. But like the only reason I'd recommend a Phanon main get Saridra right now, even though they don't need it if they have E2 Fae, is because you don't know when Saridra will get her second rerun. Like she is not an important meta character at all in this new version. So like she may have reran fast this time in about 4 patches, but she could easily just not rerun for like an entire year again. So if you're like a Phanon main, I'd like kind of recommend investing in Saridra because I don't think she's coming back for a while. S1 Mornai is broken. She can't be interrupted and her buff is now 20 seconds. Tested her in TOA and the buff isn't leaving. Yeah, S1 Mornai is pretty strong. Like for example, if it weren't for my, kind of FOMO for wanting to play the Elation team, I'd use the pulls on my what's it called? My Cassie account currently to just get E2 Fae and buff his ass up. But I'm not doing that, so what's the best team for Sparksy without Yao Guang right now? I mean, probably with Tribby. But, that's just. It works because she's getting shielded. But it is kind of scuffed, I'm not gonna lie. She'll probably rerun fast anyways. She'll probably rerun in like 4.3. That's my guess. They're 100% running, or sorry, rerunning Sparksy and Yao Guang like 3 patches later, right after the Annie. Because people are going to want both of them for either Yai or Sylvie. Or maybe they're both going to want, them. Maybe they'll have the same teammates and it's like, just decide which DPS you want to use. No, I agree, Uni. Like that's the entire reason of why I keep in mind, Uni, I spent money like 130, 140 my currency Canadian to get E2 Phanon on my older Phanon account, and it's like I literally dropped the account because I was so bored. It's like he's so strong, but he's too easy. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just very straightforward gameplay. The most work that goes into Phanon is like the initial rotation, right? That's it. Once you actually get into his ult, it becomes decently straightforward. Hello, FBI. Do you think E1 Tribby fall off? Well, everything falls off. She'll still have pretty good general value, though. Drama is brewing? Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. It's actually hilarious, man. I should have delayed my hypocrisy video. I couldn't believe more shit would come out after. It's actually, it's the gift that keeps on giving, man. When do you think Cyrene will be rerunning? Either 4.1 to milk people's pools before the Annie, which I think is like a very Hoyo thing to do, or on 4.2 with the Annie. Either way, they win, right? People who really want Cyrene, but she's on the Annie with these new Elation characters are going to have to stress about it. Or if Cyrene's in 4.1, people are still going to have to stress anyways, just a little less. If they want the Elation characters in Cyrene. What new drama happened? Well, you know, like this entire lolly thing uni going on, and how like Saint was one of the main pushers of it. He got exposed for advertising a lolly girl from Girls Frontline 2, I think is what the game's called. And she is like way more sexualized like than almost any lolly character I've seen in any gacha in my life. Like they literally have the characters dancing on a stripper pole uni. I'm not trolling. So people went back, found out he's got sponsored by them and advertised this lolly character. And now he's literally trying to brigade some CCs and get his community to report them and even threatening to sue some of them because they've exposed his ass for this shit. Oh my goodness. Like, it's absolute insanity, bro. I should have delayed my hypocrisy video a little longer. It would have been cinema. It's hilarious. Yeah. Like, oh my god. Yeah, she has like multiple skins, and some of them are literally like she's basically naked almost. And it's like see through shit, basically. Skull CJ, yeah. No, I know Uni. For sure. I literally brought that up in one of my videos recently too. It's like so often will someone who's like so against something end up like just getting exposed so quickly, man. Every time. His reaction is crazy though. Like he's dead ass brigading other CCs and trying to report them and get their shit taken down. It's like, oh, I'm gonna sue you, Skull CJ. Skull CJ recently made a video on it too. He's like actively updating the situation. He's like, I don't give a fuck, bro. Oh my god. Oh, his community's coping, by the way, with it's just a sponsor. It was a sponsor. That's not the real Saint. You know what I'm saying? It's just a sponsor, guys. Chill, chill. Saint's different from the rest of them. No, exactly, raid leader. That's the problem people have with him every single time. It has nothing to do with whether or not he actually likes them or not. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. The problem is the hypocrisy. Like this just goes to show if he is paid enough, he'll throw all his morals out the way. He'll throw everything he criticizes others creators for out the window and he'll do it if he gets paid enough. He doesn't care. This was my point. This was like one of my main criticisms too of another CC I was talking about. It's like how can you even say this shit and you're making money off of this company that makes these games that you think are like predators on the low. You know what I'm saying? Like you think they're like this shit very serious accusations, but you make and advertise their games to make money and profit off it. It's like, I don't know, man. I don't understand their minds, bro. I'm not them. I don't think I'll ever understand them. Is E2 Bronya a brick? Because I read it. It feels like it messes up your speed tuning in a Phanon team. Uh, I mean, you just work around it probably. I remember I had E2 Bronya on my Phanon account, and I just worked around it. I came up with like my own Sunday Bronya rotation to make it work. Um, but yeah, like it is kind of annoying if you already have like pre-farmed relics and you have the right speed and shit. E2 Bronya is like where she shines the most probably is in a Sweat Anoxa comp with Robin. Apparently E2 Bronya giving Anoxa that speed increase actually leads to him being able to get some really good damage in a Sweat comp. But outside of like that Bronya Robin comp, not really. Those dialogue line leaks are depressing. I mean, yeah. Dude, like, I don't know. I'm genuinely getting frustrated, man. Like, I want to be attached to some of these characters. I want to. You know what I'm saying? I want to care about them. Like, oh, it's so sad, man. Like, where's QU1, bro? Where's QU1? Give me QU1. I need more QU1 in the story, man. Is E2 Evernight good? Yes. It's the only other character with like an E2 Phanon equivalent jump getting their E2. That's why I'm so happy about Yang Yang SP. Yeah, exactly, Uni. It's like, it's crazy. Yang Yang hasn't been in the story for like fucking forever, dude. The attachment I have to Yang Yang is the very beginning of the game and the letters she sends like whenever in the mail. And somehow I care more about her than like 99% of this game's cast. Yang Yang the goat, man. Any thoughts about trying non-mainstream gachas like Epic 7, Arknights, and Limbus? Currently, no, not really. It's just like, it's tiring, man. I already play a lot of gachas in the first place. If I ever picked up another gacha, I'd probably have to quit one of my current ones. You know what I'm saying? And even though I have my issues with WUA, it's hard for me to definitively say that I'd ever like quit this game permanently because the main reason I play it is just for combat and endgame reasons. And obviously character animations and design. Like this game knocks it out of the park in so many areas, but it for sure has some serious flaws. I just don't really have the motivation to do those, Blad. Should I get an E1 Saridra or E2 Sparkle for my Phanon Sunday team? Probably Sari. Is Saridra a lolly? Yeah. I literally made a community post yesterday I was like, because it's the topic of the day, here are my favorite lollies, and Saridra was in there. You guys need to understand. I probably should have just. I should have made this even more blatant and clear in like my video. Lolly is a body type. Okay, it's like multiple body types, and it's not stuck to one thing. And I explained this in my video talking about Sparkle is a lolly, which is that you can be an adult, you can be like mentally mature, right? And you can also be a lolly at the same time. You know what I'm saying? That's how it goes. It's simply a body type. If you are like a very petite character, clearly short, probably not that big, you are probably a lolly. Like Tatsumaki, Frieren, a few other characters. Like, this probably applies to Nell in Bleach as well, right? Like, there's a ton of examples. And it's also like, just because you're old and all this, like, it doesn't change anything, right? Like, for example, Tribby. I also talked about this. Tribby is probably, like, she obviously is incredibly goofy, okay? But Tribby is smart as fuck, strong as fuck, was Aglaea's teacher, right? Like, Tribby is mentally mature, super fucking old, but obviously she's a lolly because she's short as shit, right? It goes the same way. It has nothing to do with really age. Yeah, like Nahida, for example. Nahida's another one as well. But people think just because someone's like, I guess, 4 foot plus, like if they hit this requirement, that they're no longer a lolly, basically, if they're of age. But that's not really how it works. Wait, actually, Uni? Damn, that's tough. Well, apparently, Saridra's infantilization curse thing was revisited later on. Something came up, if I remember correctly. And I think it is pretty close to confirmed that she is talking about herself in terms of height and cursing herself to get power. And it's not related to Tribby, I'm pretty sure. Like, I saw an entire thread on it on why it didn't make sense to be Tribby. So she probably is referring to herself. But it's also like, you know what I'm saying? If it couldn't be any more obvious, both Clara and Yun Li have the exact same model as Sparkle. Like, it literally could not get more obvious. 3B and Nahida clearly look like children. I mean, once again, I talked about this in my video. If you translate the models of these characters to real life, they don't look even human. You know what I'm saying? Like, they genuinely look like abominations. It's fine if you think that, right? I guess you can say in anime terms, right? They're like, they look like anime children. Sure. But this is the problem with the lolly thing in the discussion. Everybody has like their own limits. You know what I'm saying? Like, technically speaking, Tribby is probably 10 times as mentally mature as compared to, like, let's say a character like Sparkle, and she's 1,000 years old, 1,000 plus, right? So technically, right, the entire reason why, you know, lolly is supposed to be a bad thing if it's like an actual minor is that they aren't mentally mature, right? Like, this is why we have our entire age system in real life, right? So technically, Tribby is smarter than fucking billions of people, older than billions, but you know, you're using this logic that she's a child because of the body, right? And it's like, you can say that. The same applies to Sparkle. You know what I'm saying? The same applies to Sparkle. Like, let's be dead honest. If you show someone who isn't in the anime community Sparkle's model, they will not think that's an adult. I'm sorry. Like this has already happened to me with my family a few times, where they've caught me playing these anime games on Honkai Star Rail on like my iPad or some shit, and they're like, "Yo, how old is them? They look like they go to high school or something." I'm like, "No," or like middle school. I'm like, "No, this is a grown ass character who's actually like 10 times older than you." She's like, "Oh." For example, this applies to Farina and Hu Tao as well. By the way, I believe they're both small enough to be um, what's it called? Like called lollies, which is why I also included them in my post. It's even funnier because some Genshin Impact models literally have the name Lolly on it. There was like controversy about it on Twitter at one point. But the lesson of the day is it doesn't matter. Who cares, dude? Like they aren't real. Hu Tao's 20? How many times do I have to repeat this shit, bro? It has nothing to do with age. It's all about the body type. How many times do I have to repeat this before it gets to people's head? If it had to do with age, nobody would complain about cooning the Tribby. You know what I'm saying? I know, okay. Can you give an example of a short anime character that isn't a grandma who you wouldn't call a lolly? I mean, I don't think there is. It depends on how short you're talking about. Oh yeah, adult Tribby is beautiful. I'm surprised they didn't make her that. Literally, it doesn't make sense to me. I guess they obviously did it for like lore to make it more interesting. But Tribios, legit, probably would have sold twice as well if they made Tribios the actual character. Rukia is a lolly though. Like Rukia is a lolly. She's basically the only people who literally this is the same thing as like this entire Sparkle situation, right? The only people who are actively against Rukia being a lolly are people who really like Rukia and don't want to classify her as it because they don't actually understand the definition of it. But Rukia is a lolly. I mean, I guess maybe if you're like super old looking. Yeah. Maybe if you're like super old looking, but you're short, you probably wouldn't be considered a lolly, probably. Do we have an example of like an old woman character in HSR? Nice, Sodic. The definition has been partially distorted thanks to the internet. I mean, I think a lot of people just don't even look for the definition. Like, you guys need to understand. Like, here's the thing, right? I should have put this in my video about is Sparkle a lolly, because then this probably would have like fixed up a lot of people trying to fight back against it. I literally went to Google of like an hour after I made that video because someone said my definition of lolly doesn't fit the real one, right? Or their definition of it. So I literally went to Google and said, "Is Sparkle from Honkai Star Rail? Can she be considered a lolly, right? Or is she a lolly?" And literally, it just said yes, and then gave the full description of why. So the Google and like other search engines think Sparkle is a lolly. You know what I'm saying? So even if you call my definition a question, clearly there's like another universal definition on these search engines that agrees with my entire point. Because I had to literally look it up because certain CC just kept saying, "Oh, she's a short adult." Most people would think she's a short adult. She doesn't look like a lolly. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go look at some neutral ass search engine and see what they think. And they're like, "Yeah, she's a lolly, bro." Sparkle is generally not considered a lolly in terms of personality. Lolly has nothing to do with personality, though. It's just a looks thing. Remember, kids, this is all pixels and stuff. I mean, yeah, not lolly. She is. Why are you guys? It's so funny to me, man. People will literally go to hell and back to just lie to themselves so that they can justify a character they really like, man. This shit is hilarious. No, we're not because people don't care about Shotas as much as they care about lollies when they're virtue signaling Uso. That's kind of how it goes. Like it's a real thing. People really just don't give a shit about Shotas. Almost all the controversy. Like for example, if I go on Google or if I go on Reddit, if I go on one of these search engines and I put in lolly, the first thing that shows up is like a call thingy for like CSEM, right? And they're like, "Oh, don't search this up," right? And then if you put in Shota, nothing shows up. Like there's a clear difference in terms of how much people care. I mean, it's like who cares proof system? Like even if Stephen Lloyd is a kid, right? Let's say he is. And this is why it's so stupid, right? If Stephen Lloyd is a kid, you put him in our universe, he is literally tens of thousands of times smarter than even the smartest geniuses ever conceived in our history. Because it's just bullshit anime logic. You know what I'm saying? This is why I think it's just this entire discussion is so stupid. Anime characters are so much different from human being. Oh my god, voice crack from human beings in both the way they act and as well as how they look. My friend got flamed for liking Freminette. Who's Freminette? Sounds like a Genshin character. I mean, that's completely fine, 789. Like, that's fine. I'm not trying to fucking push everyone who watches me to start gooning to lollies and shodas. Like, no. I'll sometimes make posts about me liking them, but that's not the point. The point is just, everybody has their own preferences. Not everybody's gonna like what others like. But the serious accusations people use against, like, lolicons and shotacons, and, like, real life accusations that are so bad, it's like, dude, chill. They aren't real. Yeah, Samir. Bad polls on Sunday Cone? Yeah, I didn't really get anything out of it. You can't crash out at me for a little side eye? I mean, it depends on the side eye, dude. Some people are going to be annoyed no matter what. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't like mommy characters at all. So, when people talk about mommy characters, it's like, oh, I don't like it. But I'm not going to be like, oh, dude, you like mommy characters? Like, isn't that, like, kind of weird? Like, nah, bro. I don't even mention it or think about it. I just move on instantly. What about IRL? I still wouldn't care. At least personally, because I am literally a Shotokan and Lolicon. But if you're asking, like, if someone, yeah, I wouldn't say anything. Like, why would I say anything? What? If someone comes up to me and is like, oh, to be honest, I have friends that have literally done this. I literally have friends that have done this. They're like, oh, you know, um, I really like this mommy character from this one anime, and I'm like, yeah, Ada Wong. They like Ada Wong, and he fucking loves Ada Wong like an insane amount, and he always tells me about her, and I'm like, damn, dude, like, you got it down bad for her, and that's like all I say, and then we move on. Like, what am I supposed to say? Am I supposed to give him the meanest look and be like, ugh, like, dude, what's wrong with you, bro? Like, who gives a shit? I wouldn't leave a kid near a Shotokan or Lolicon, but I also wouldn't go out of my way to accuse the person of a crime that's dumb. I mean, that's fine if you don't want to. And it's like, maybe? It's like, I don't know, bro. It's just, you're basically still kind of assuming that they're probably predators on the low, or there's a higher chance of it. But I can't say to anyone who they fucking pair with their kids. So yeah, we were already talking about it earlier, Everly. No, yeah, exactly. Deserves more. That's exactly why I say, like, when you look at Sparkle, for example, or you look at a lot of other characters. I was catching some heat in my last video for saying that Sparkle really doesn't act mature in the slightest. And the clapback is, oh, she acts cold and calculated, and this isn't a real personality. But it's like, this is the only personality that she's used so far, and it's the personality people have fallen completely in love with. And I'd say, like, someone I can actually compare Sparkle's personality to, kinda, is Francesca from Fate Strange Fake, right? Like, obviously, Francesca Prelati, she's smart as shit, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, she is incredibly highly intelligent. She knows what she's doing. She's emotionally manipulative. However, basically her entire personality is exactly like Sparkle's. Like some bratty character who seems like they're incredibly mentally ill, crazy beyond belief. Like no normal person would obviously act like that. You know what I'm saying? The only difference is Francesca isn't in like a lolly body like Sparkle is. It's like you could genuinely possibly make an argument that outside of like Tribby, when she's being like super, fucking having fun and goofy with her other versions of herself, like when she locks in, she is probably like more serious and mature than Sparkle. Probably easily. I'm putting probably here because if I say for sure, people are going to be like, oh, there's no way, right? So I can leave it up to other people's interpretation. From the few moments I've seen, serious moments of Tribby in the actual Amphoria story, she locks in more and is probably like more intelligent sometimes as compared to Sparkle. Like she takes shit more seriously. Doesn't Tribby kind of act like a serious, kind elder anyway? Basically. I mean, once again, she's the teacher for Aglaia. She's like 1,000 plus. She and Aglaia is like one of the smartest characters in the entirety of the series, and one of the most strict and mature. You know what I'm saying? Like easily one of the most mature among all the Chrysos heirs, and like she got taught by Tribby. You know, like very clearly, Tribby is fucking old as shit. She's smart and mature as shit, even though she goofs around with her own versions. She always locks in when she needs to save people. But people are going to look at you sideways, just like the person in my chat was saying, if you ever say you like Tribby because of these aspects, all because of her body size. But everything changes if you become like 2 feet taller as a Sparkle. Everything changes, bro. Yeah, I already saw it. She's actually 2,000? Really? I thought she was like a little over 1K. Well, obviously, this is probably never a topic that would genuinely be brought up in real life to any of your friends, unless someone just randomly brings it up. Like, I'm not gonna go out to one of my friends if I find out they're like a lolicon or shotacon and be like, "Yo, dude, like, yo, like, what's going on, bro? Like, which one? Like, that isn't something that really appears in a normal conversation." Like, my cousin did this a while back, where I surprisingly found out he actually likes some shotas and lollies in anime, not all, but he likes some, and literally we just instantly moved on in the conversation and talking about like stories of anime I'm going to be watching, games we're playing, shit like that, right? Like that's not something real people harp on about unless they're trying to be just like weird. 1K is for the younger Chrysos heirs like my day. Ah, I see. Which one do you like? Yeah, exactly. It's like, who the hell even brings that shit up? We still talking about the Kekvin vid? We're not talking about just Kekvin. We're talking about like multiple different creators that are jumping on this shit and not understanding it because they haven't at all actually looked into the topic. They just ignore everything, don't look into anything, talk about it, farm engagement. Like for example, Saint just got exposed for getting sponsored from Girls Frontline 2 and advertising a lolly like a few months back. And now he's brigading other CC's communities to report their channel and get it taken down. Even threatening to sue. All because he got exposed after saying, oh, lolly is disgusting, this and that. He was just rage baiting. He's 100% not rage baiting. He's not. He genuinely believes everything he says. Nice, Amir. He's actually dead ass. Yes. He has a history of like attacking this entire lolly thing, man. Like he said it himself in one of his videos. Like he's dead serious and he's gone on like this entire like rant thingy like a year or two ago when he was much smaller and he didn't even have the engagement to really farm off it. Like it's something he genuinely believes. And apparently he's deleting comments that don't agree with him on his video now. So like he just doesn't want to hear anything. I've never even played Girls Frontline 2. I didn't even know that shit existed until I saw the sponsor that Saint did. I literally the most like lolly archetype character I'd seen in the gachas I'd played so far is Yohu. This was like the most like obvious one. I had no idea it got like way more wild in some other games. I've only heard bad stuff about Girls Frontline 2 from my friends, really. I mean, I've heard it still makes money somehow. Like they make a good amount of money. I mean, it is a Gooner game. Gooner can get you pretty far, but skin gacha and bad power creep. Well, yeah, I don't think he's gonna sue anybody either. Yeah, they did the same thing. Okay, so this has happened twice so far. When Yohu came out and Rexlent, I believe, when she got drip marketed, made a tweet with the crying emoji and that other emoji, that people commonly use who are lolicons. He got accused of being basically a real life predator. And this shit still like people still bring this up today, right? even though I don't think he's done anything else at all to add on to it. And then when Saint and Genazad were beefing around the Annie, Saint basically accused Genazad of being a real predator on the low because he got an S6 Roshia. So like this shit has happened multiple times for basically both of the limited lolly characters that were released in this game, or like new lolly characters. I wouldn't be surprised if it got brought up again with either Dania or Rebecca, because I've heard Dania might also be a lolly body type. I can't wait for Rebecca though. I wonder what Rebecca will even do. I mean, she's kind of far, but I mean, 3 patches ain't bad. Rebecca will be a pistol character, maybe. To be honest, not HSR. Lua is like bullshittery when it comes to their weapon types. Shit don't even make sense no more. So long as the weapon shows up for like 1 second in any animation sequence, they can just register it as anything else. Are you hyped for free Sparkle? Yeah. I'm getting free Sparkle on both of my accounts. Which is like, oh, it's so good, dude. It's so good. I love it. I don't remember, but even if it was Satoshi, things like that can change decently easily. Because once again, like, the weapons don't actually mean anything. So they can, like, get the animations done and after think about which weapon it is that the character will use. I mean, I'm probably not going to play NTE anyways. When does the new WUA update come out? Probably today or tomorrow. Are you solely investing into Silverwolf Annie team, or is there an account going for Yai? What I'm currently planning to do is I'm gonna get Sparksy Yao Guang and then run the main DPS Sparksy team with buff Sparkle because you get that for free. And whichever one those two synergize with on the Annie more, I'll pull. It's kind of like what I'm doing. Update is that soon? For some reason, I thought we had a few days. I mean, Mornai's banner is gone in 5 hours, so I just assumed it would probably be like tomorrow, unless we go bannerless for a few days. It's February 5th CN time. Oh, there you go. Yeah, it's like 1 or 2 days. Time goes fast. Yep. Tomorrow for you? Yep. Yeah, he's so beautiful. She reminds me of Miyabi. I don't care if she's not a main push. Yeah. Now that it's confirmed they're probably both main DPSs, Once again, it's just gonna come down to probably whoever's animations I fuck with more, and as well as how well they synergize with Sparksy Yao Guang. Because like if they pull a Cassie with Silverwolf, and she gets like her best in slot teammates later on in the version, I might just I might just fold for Yai instead, to be honest. Depending on how lucky my Anoxa account is, I can maybe also go for Silverwolf. But if it has like normal luck or even worse, I'd probably have to go for Himiko as my next team that I build. Oh yeah, Uni, it was so fucking cool. I've already seen people like hating on it on Twitter. I'm like, how can you hate on this, man? They're like, oh, it's too much. There's too much going on. It's like maybe, if you prefer more simple designs, but like I think she looks fucking amazing, man. Silverwolf mogged Ameth for me, comparing Star Rail. Compare Rail. Caught in the act. Uwa lives rent free. Yep. Compare Rail. It's Jover. Just EOS. Yep. Disappointing. I love the aesthetic of the new planet. I do too. I remember the dooming. Bro, the dooming was going crazy because there was like that one small picture that official HSR dropped of a Plan Arcadia place, and everybody said, yo, ain't this just Bellabog, bro? And then it moved to, oh, we're probably just gonna get Penacony reskin. And then we actually finally got like a ton of videos from the leakers when the beta dropped, and people realized like, oh shit, this shit is actually like really nice. I really like it. What's your favorite 4.0 enemy design? I mean, it's probably the new Sparkle boss. I really like the new Sparkle boss. At this point, HSR is just Doom Post Rail. Yeah. I've always said it, like, HSR is the game where the community is like, it's like the, I'd say these days, WUA players are coming around a lot more. So it's unfair to say, like, oh, they all hate criticism. But, like, as compared to HSR, deadass, no other games comes close, in my opinion, to, like, the fan base being so overly critical of everything they do no matter what. Like it is fully normal to have insane levels of dooming for the game in HSR. And like it reminds me of One Piece low key. Like as of recent, there's been so much One Piece slander on social media that I've been seeing. Like low key, I think the One Piece community is turning around and becoming the HSR community. Like they keep reading, they keep tuning in every week for the new chapter, but they be flaming the fuck out of Oda, bro. Like they are flaming the fuck out of Oda and slandering him constantly. Oh, really, Uni? I didn't even know that. Well, I agree. It can be a little too negative at times. But I've talked about this many times over. I prefer an overly critical player base as compared to an overly toxically positive one every day of the week. I would not trade HSR's community for WUA's at all. I wouldn't even think about it or look at it a second time. Like, no, bro. uh, oh, really, Uni? You think so too? Yeah. Yeah, I've seen a few videos here on some of your ZZZ commenters on the other hand. Listen, I'm not even a big ZZZ player, so chill, chill. Not my fault. The amount of TC denial I see in the WUA community pisses me off, or puts me off. I mean, it's because, like, uh, the WUA community doesn't really fuck with TC because they have, like, this idea in their head. It is true, right? Like, there is a ceiling to certain characters' rotations and team rotations in WUA where, like, your skill can triumph over, like, the average 1, 2, 3 rotation in a calc, right? Like, that isn't the limit of teams usually, at least from Chem's calcs, right? However, people are so in denial of, like, oh, there's the power creep doesn't exist. I'm not going to look at TC or admit this TC is really real. Skill can triumph over everything else. Like, this mindset is very common in the WUA space. Very, very common. Whenever someone complains about, I'd say this is a good example, right? A good comparison between, like, HSR and, like, WUA when people are saying they're struggling for endgame. If someone on, let's say, a WUA subreddit says they're really struggling with endgame because, maybe there was a little HP inflation, the shilling isn't on their side anymore, 99% of the replies are going to be just get better. Just learn to play the rotation better. Learn to play as optimally as possible on this team, and then you won't be able to complain about this shit. But if I go to, like, an HSR Reddit and I see someone complaining about, oh, this MOC inflation is getting out of hand, right? I'm really struggling to clear even with, like, some 3.x premium teams. For example, I once had someone come in my chat saying that the power creep is so bad their E2 Cassie can no longer clear after 2 patches. Okay? I don't know what they're doing there. It's pretty crazy, right? But for example, a post like that would get insane amounts of traction. Everybody being like, yes, right? Like, this game is so terrible. It's not your fault. Here's a few recommendations, but remember, it's not really your fault. We shouldn't even have to really learn how to play these characters optimally, right? Like, it is an insane difference between these two games, man. It is insane, bro. No, I agree, Uni. I agree. I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm just, like, comparing the two communities and how much different they are. They're like polar opposites when it comes to, like, how much they criticize their game. Like, I myself, when that person came into my chat for my E2 Cassie thing, I was like, bro, what are you doing? Keep in mind, this isn't like current MOC, right? Like, this person comes in my chat and this is like mid 3.x at like 3.5 or 3.6, right? So we didn't get the massive HP inflation on MOC that we did when it was like 3.6 or 3.7 with Cyrene, right? So it's like, how? How are you struggling with an E2 Cassie? And you're, like, not able to clear endgame. How is this even possible? Even if you're using Gallagher and, like, the free Ruan Mei from the golden token in RMC, that shit should still be clearing. No, I agree, Uni. There should be a middle ground where, like, people can admit that it's obviously the fault of HP inflation and difficulty increases of why people have to put in more effort for their teams to work as well. However, also maybe encouraging them nicely You know, you can do this. Here's a rotation. Maybe you could work a little more on your echoes or in your relics and HSR. Like that is the perfect middle ground, but they're both like kind of extremes of either side in both games. Solo Don Jin has been dead for like half a year at this point, bro. Like dead at we need to get over this shit, man. Solo Don Jin ain't a thing anymore. Long gone. I coached a couple new Zanny and cart players, and one of them is better at cart than me now. No, exactly, Uni. Like, here's the reality, and I will admit this, right? I am very lazy, and I will purposefully procrastinate learning how to play characters because I just don't want to, right? Like, I'd rather put my time somewhere else, or I don't want to put in the effort for it. But if, let's say, Wuwa had the fan base of like Fortnite, right? Like you put the average Fortnite player's willingness to learn to get better at the game on a Wuwa player, and everybody would be using Zanny 3 Nightfall or 4 Nightfall rotation as a standard. And they'd be flaming the fuck out of anybody who didn't play Zanny to that level. Because in reality, if people were to go out of their way to properly learn how to play their characters, it does not take as long as they usually think it does. Right? A lot of people are like, oh, this is like the sweatiest player in the space. This rotation is disgusting. How could you ever learn this? But if someone deadass just sat there and practiced a new rotation for a team for a few hours, they'd probably be able to get it down at least 80 to 90% of the time. And now they can use this rotation for literally whenever they use this team in the future. You know what I'm saying? People are just lazy in gacha games, which is understandable. You know, I'm like that. It's just the reality. Like, if I put the amount of effort into Wuwa as I did for Fortnite, if you guys have seen my Fortnite streams, I obviously have way above average gameplay. I'd probably be like one of these top speedrunner CCs easily. Like, easily. With the amount of effort I put in Fortnite, holy fuck. If I put that same effort in this game, I'd be going crazy. Yeah, exactly, Uni. Gotchas are made for lazy slash busy people. No, I know this. And that is why I do give leeway, right? Like, this is why I criticize quite often, you guys will see, massive endgame difficulty increases and as well as HP inflation. It's because even though I also understand that, players are lazy and procrastinate and don't want to learn how to play their characters, I also understand that these games purposely target this lazy audience, right? Like they do it on purpose. So obviously, they're going to be the majority in these fan bases of people who don't want to learn how to play things properly or learn shit. You know, what if I just get the best in slot team? What if I just go into copies? And then HSR, for example, players really suffer from this because the game has auto, right? Like at least Wuwa doesn't have auto. You have to put some semblance of effort, but because of HSR having auto, like the actual objective average HSR player is clueless, brainless. Like they have two brains. They don't know what's going on, you know what I'm saying? They probably lose to the auto battle if anything. Yeah, Uni, exactly. Oh yeah, HSR has skill expression. It's not like mechanical gameplay like Wuwa. And this is why like people are so unfair towards HSR when they're like, "Oh, HSR is like an auto battle, right? Like there's no skill involved in the game. Wuwa has skill." The difference is in Wuwa it's all mechanical, right? Of course, you can get better echoes to increase your team's performance, but let's say for example, min-maxing echoes in HSR will yield vastly greater rewards and returns as compared to min-maxing echoes in Wuwa, right? Because hitting certain speed tuning breakpoints for some teams just vastly increases their performance. You know what I'm saying? And can make it much easier for someone to go for something like a zero cycle. Because there's not a stat as broken as like speed in this game, it's kind of incomparable to how much gear min-maxing matters, right? But in HSR, for example, you cannot tell me at all that the average player would even think of a fraction of the things HOS does when he does his usual zero cycles with older characters, right? Like, there's a ton of people who say Fei Xiao is completely garbage, and then you'll see HOS getting like some 3-4 cost Fei Xiao zero cycle, no Eidolons with Moes, right? Like the average player isn't coming close to that. I bet some of them don't even clear with like a 3 or 4 cost E0 Fei Xiao, right? The difference is astronomical, and it's mostly a knowledge diff. Oh yeah, iDay Gaming is another one. Yeah, iDay Gaming is another one. Yeah, Ahsoka. Every iDay video is a math class. Yeah, I did used to watch them more frequently. And to be honest, I just ignored the yap. I just watched the clear and tried to like guess what he was planning and doing myself. It's more fun that way. What's your favorite boss from APOC, AA, and MOC? Uh, my favorite MOC boss is probably, well, in terms of convenience, the shared TV, but probably in terms of mechanics, it would be Lygus. I really like Lygus as an MOC boss. Impure Fiction? I haven't really thought about this at all. Maybe Cocolia because she's just very straightforward. Maybe Cocolia. Um, what else? Anomaly Arbitration. Oh wait, APOC. APOC, Hule, and then Anomaly Arbitration. Probably once again Lygus. Who's your favorite leaker? Why would I have a favorite leaker? There's obviously more reliable ones, so I care about their word more when they say something, but hello, Sanders. Sure, have at it, home press. Am I cooking? Ashvale will be break, but only work with Galaxy Ranger characters. In the trailer, there is enough to have a team of all 4 Galaxy Rangers. Eh, maybe. Maybe. Yeah, I don't know how that would work well because like a few of them are supposed to be main DPSs themselves, unless Ash Vale or La Mancha ends up being a sub DPS, which would be like surprising. I mean, low key, Sparksy main DPS, even though she is supposed to be sub DPS, then Ash La Mancha main DPS, and then Duo main DPS on the Annie. Do we think they're gonna do 4 banners in a row of main DPSs? There is a chance they can make La Mancha not a DPS. I don't know. Because that's a lot of main DPSs in a row. Because, like, for example, it is possible that they could kind of pull a Ruan Mei with La Mancha, where he's like a break support, the newest one next to Dahlia, and then he ends up being best in slot for Himiko SP in 4.4. Because I have had the theory for like quite a while now that they're obviously going to replace Fugue if Himiko SP ends up being a break DPS. Because I feel like they'd want to capitalize on more than just Dahlia. Or he could be a sustain too, honestly. He could also be a break sustain. But I'm assuming that's later on. What current gacha you main right now? I mean, if we're talking about like in terms of how much time I'm putting into it, probably Wua. But like obviously, technically the gacha I main is like HSR. It's just that it's been pretty dry lately, and it's pretty convenient. So, but I've been playing Wua the most easily out of all the games. It's not even close. Good night, Home Press. Thanks for stopping by. I mean, I do think there will be power creep on the Annie. Like, you guys need to understand, Sparksy is a sub DPS, and her current main DPS isn't even at its full potential, which is obviously with like an Elation sustain, right? Um, so Sparksy main DPS, when she probably gets an Elation sustain, would be the strongest main DPS in the game, but then her team with whichever other actual main Elation DPS would obviously probably be even stronger than her main DPS. So we'll get a power spike. I don't know if it's a little by a lot when Sparksy gets her best in slot main DPS team. And then at the same time, we'll get another power spike because she'll now be able to be a sub DPS for Yai or Silverwolf, and that team will probably be stronger. So I'd say on 4.2 is when we get the power spike, but until then, yeah, there probably won't be any power creep. I literally saw like a 3 or 4 cost Sparksy brute forcing that boss that takes 50% less damage um if it's not broken. Like they didn't even break the boss once. She full brute forced it and technically had to do double the effective damage to get the zero cycle off it. And it was like a 3 or 4 cost. And that is without her other relation teammate. Like Sparksy is strong. Yeah. Sparkle is technically 0 cost. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Ugh. Oh my god, dude. Like we're about to see I bet your ass we are gonna see a lot of one cost Archer videos, and it's gonna be E1 Archer with Sparkle, RMC, and like someone else. We are about to see a ton of them. Yep. What about zero cost Archer? That one's, I think, more difficult. Because zero cost Archer is technically. Well, it depends whether or not they count the Lycone, but even given the greatest benefit, it's E0 S0 Sparkle with E0 S1 Archer and then free to play teammates. It'd be pretty hard for current Archer to do that even with buff Sparkle, I think. In like the 4.0 MOC at least. Like he could probably do it against Cocolia maybe. Maybe, by the way. Strong maybe. Alright, chat. Gonna end the stream here. It was a nice time talking. Hope you have a great day. Hope you have a great night. Good luck on any of your polls. We got Woowa new patch tomorrow. And we got HSR new patch in like 9 or 10 days. So I can't wait. Hope you have a great day. Hope you have a great night.